We all think we know December 25th, but what if I told you that behind that one single date, there's this secret history of clashing empires, game-changing revolutions, and a wild scientific puzzle that literally changes how we think about time itself? Okay, let's get into it.
So let's just start with a fact that sounds like a fun piece of trivia. Sir Isaac Newton, yeah, the guy who basically figured out gravity and motion, was born on December 25th. That's a pretty incredible Christmas gift to science, right? But it turns out this is so much more than just a coincidence.
See, this isn't just about one famous guy's birthday. This date, December 25th, it has this uncanny habit of popping up at these huge historical turning points. It's almost like it's woven into some kind of bigger pattern.
And believe me, Newton is just the tip of the iceberg. This day seems to be a magnet for these pivotal, world-altering moments.
Okay, let's wind the clock way back. It's Christmas Day, 800 AD. In Rome, Charlemagne gets crowned emperor. Now, this wasn't just some fancy ceremony, this was a huge deal. It basically resurrected the whole idea of the Western Roman Empire and started shaping the map of what we now call Europe.
And check out this pattern because it's wild. In 800, an empire is essentially born. Fast forward nearly 1,000 years to 1776, and on Christmas night, George Washington leads his army across the Delaware River, a move that completely turns the tide of the American Revolution. And then, jump to our own time, 1991. What happens on December 25th? An empire dies. Mikhail Gorbachev resigns, and just like that, the Soviet Union is officially over.
It's almost like December 25th is one of those days where you can literally hear the gears of history grinding and turning, again and again. It marks the start of something new or the definitive end of an era. So how does all of this connect? Well, to get to the really deep mystery here, we have to circle all the way back to where we started, with Isaac Newton. Because, you see, his birthday holds the key that unlocks this entire story. All right, get ready for a serious plot twist. If you look at the historical records, they show Isaac Newton was born on December 25th, 1642. But they also show he was born on January 4th, 1643. And nope, that's not a typo.
I mean, how is that even possible? How can one person have two different birthdays? The answer isn't just some little historical footnote. It actually forces us to look at history itself in a completely different way.
And here's the solution. For hundreds of years, Europe was basically in a state of chronological chaos. Everyone was using two different calendars at the same time. You had the old Julian calendar, which was pretty good, but not perfect. It was slowly drifting out of sync with the actual seasons. So in the 1500s, Pope Gregory XIII introduced a fix, the much more accurate Gregorian calendar, which is the one most of us use today. But here's the kicker. Protestant England, where Newton was from, was in a major rivalry with Catholic Europe, so they defiantly stuck with the old-style Julian calendar for almost 200 more years. So in England, his birth was written down as December 25th. But for everyone using the new-style Gregorian calendar, that exact same day was already January 4th. Newton's famous Christmas birthday? It was basically just an accident of politics and timekeeping. Okay, so this whole calendar mess just blows the doors open on an even bigger question. If the date itself is this, well, flexible, then where did it even come from to begin with?
Think about it. The Bible never actually gives a date for Jesus' birth. So, why December 25th? This has been one of the biggest questions for historians for a very, very long time.
And it turns out there is no single, simple answer. Instead, scholars have pretty much landed on two major and competing explanations for how this particular date got picked.
Okay, so on one side, you've got the history of religions theory. This idea says that early Christians were being really strategic. They basically picked a date near the winter solstice to co-opt a massively popular Roman festival for the unconquered sun. It's kind of like piggybacking on an existing holiday. But on the other side, you have the calculation theory. This one suggests that early Christian scholars had this idea of divine symmetry. They calculated that Jesus was conceived on March 25th, the same date they believed he was crucified. You add exactly 9 months for the pregnancy, and boom, you land right on December 25th.
So, was it an act of cultural blending or an act of theological math? The thing is, this whole debate shows us this young faith trying to figure out its place in the world. It was navigating its relationship with the incredibly powerful Roman culture all around it, while at the same time trying to build its own unique sacred timeline.
So, when you pull all these threads together, empires, science, revolutions, calendars, what does December 25th really represent?
I mean, we've seen it all, right? It's a day for empires, with Charlemagne's coronation. It's a day for science, with the birth of Newton. It's a day for revolution, both for America and against the Soviet Union. And it's a day of debate, a symbol of everything from how we measure time to how we create our traditions.
So, in the end, December 25th isn't just a day. It's more like a historical document, or time capsule, with all these different layers of faith, power, science, and our constant struggle to make sense of time itself.
It's incredible, right? A date we all thought we knew turns out to hold an entire universe of hidden stories. It really makes you wonder, what other ordinary days on our calendar are just sitting there, waiting for someone to uncover their secrets?